If you've ever taken out student loans, you know it can take years to repay that debt.
That's right. Well, thanks to a local event, many parents and students are learning how to avoid student loans, including one Metro Detroit mom and daughter who say they didn't pay anything for college. April Morton has that story.
So this is after graduation. This is not part of the co-op.
When it came to succeeding academically, Honore Laney didn't worry too much about her daughter, Sierra.
One weekend, she had 5 books. And she spent the night over a friend's house, too. So at the end of the weekend, I said, well, are you going to read any of your books? She's like, I already read them. Say what?
And she said that was in elementary school. Seeing this in her at such an early age, she continued to feed her love for reading.
And then I just started throwing books at her, and she would read everything, and it's phenomenal when it comes to that.
Something else that's phenomenal is Sierra's love for reading and learning led her to graduating with honors from Cass Tech High School and landed her where she is today in her final year at Kettering University in Flint. But she's not stopping there.
Go to grad school for anesthesiologist assistant program. The main goal is to become an anesthesiologist assistant. I'm also applying to med school.
Before deciding on which college to attend, she knew getting there was not going to be cheap.
For junior year of high school and senior year of high school is when I started applying to scholarships. Thanks to Ms. Gwen Thomas, I kind of got a heads up on when to start applying.
Sierra says she attended the Scholarship Bootcamp in Detroit, an annual event put on by Fresh Perspectives, a Michigan-based nonprofit ran by Detroiter Gwen Thomas. The organization helps high schoolers and their parents find scholarships.
And my whole goal was to not have to ask my mother for anything. So applying to those scholarships applying to and getting those scholarships were extremely important to me.
Following the guidance she received at the boot camp, Sierra applied to several scholarships, and well, you can say it paid off.
$300,000 in scholarships, including what I'm going to receive for this next term, which is my last term before I graduate, and then on to grad school and applying to even more scholarships.
She said this covered her entire tuition costs, and room and board is covered through a co-op program she's a part of. And she has this advice for others seeking scholarships.
Apply to as many scholarships as you can. Like I said, the worst they can tell you is no. It's not going to do you any harm. And if they do tell you no, then you have an essay for the next scholarship. So you just submit.
Look at you, rock star. You on it.
Well, joining us now is Gwen Thomas, president of Fresh Perspectives Seminars and founder of the Black Friday Scholarship Bootcamp. Good morning, and thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is delightful to have you here, and I know there are going to be a lot of parents who are interested in what you have to say. Now, we just saw a piece with a mom and daughter who attended your scholarship bootcamp and got a lot of money. So what did they do right? What did they do correctly to get this money?
Well, first thing they did was come to the boot camp.
Okay.
I can't emphasize how important the boot camp is because we go through just a lot of stuff to make sure they understand that whole process of admission and applying for scholarships. And they read the book, The Parent Smart Guide to Sending Your Kids to College Without Going Broke.
There you go.
All right, well, your scholarship boot camp event is in its 10th year. Now, who is it designed for, and what can visitors expect?
Well, the boot camp is designed for both students and parents. And one of the things that we want to make sure that students understand the importance of studying 21st century careers. We want students to go into careers that are sustainable. You hear all the time, the market talks about, we want to make sure Michigan students are prepared to go to work. And when they graduate, we want them to be able to go to work for our Michigan companies. And so we make sure we go into everything that's relevant because companies are looking for students that are going to drive innovation. They can also expect to go through something new this year is our financial aid simulation. That's when they decide, how much money am I going to really need to pay for college? Which college makes sense for my family to send me? Is it a HBCU? Is it a state school? And so we talk about all of the scholarship options and all of the financial aid options. So 20 years later, they're not blindsided by still paying for loans loans 20 years later.
Yeah, there are people paying 20
Amazing.
and 30 years later because, you
Amazing.
know, the way it's set up and the interest and so on. But you also wrote the book, The Parent's Smart Guide to Sending Your Kid to College Without Going Broke. Really quickly, what inspired you behind the book, and what is the takeaway that you have for people?
It was my own son. You know, he was on his journey to college, and I had to stop and think for a minute. I had spent my career in marketing and helping companies make money and create their brands, and I created a brand for him, which allowed him to pay for his undergrad degree at Morehouse, his grad degree at Johns Hopkins, and study abroad to 20 countries. So that was $500,000 in scholarships. People started hearing about it, and they said, "Hey, can you help my son? Can you help my daughter?" So I called a couple of corporate partners and said, "Listen, I've got an idea for community outreach. Will you help me?" And they came and said, "Yes, we will." And we just started with a few seminars, which now has grown to the Black Friday Scholarship Bootcamp. And like I said, we're in our 10th year, so we've helped students win like $22 million.
Give everybody the final details. How do they get in
the
touch
Black
with you?
Friday Scholarship Bootcamp is going to be on Black Friday, the big retail day.
Okay.
We're keeping families in the black and not in the red.
Awesome.
And it's going to be at the Detroit Golf Club from 8:30 to 4:30. They can register at blackfridaysb.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you. All right.